Hi, and welcome to Cockatude, Cockatoos with Attitude. And here today we're going to be talking about Jazmin, another Jazmin update. Yeah, it's been a while now since we've talked about her. If you have a relative who's bipolar and for a long time they hadn't been taking any medicine, and then they went on different kinds of medicine and finally settled on something, and now they're a lot happier and functional. It does take a little while for them to adjust to being on a drug all the time. But eventually, they're like this little girl right here I'm petting. They come around and start doing things like birds that don't have a problem, like the birds out in the wild, okay? And because these guys have their lives stolen from them by evil breeders, and I do think they're truly evil, they don't know it. A lot of them don't know it. Some do. Some are just, it's all about the money. I just want some money, baby. I'm going to start doing this bird breeding thing so I can become rich. Yeah, a lot of them are just like that, too. Or there's the ones that say, oh, we're going to save the species. Yeah, really. Yeah, it doesn't save a species to take them away from their parents and the flock and try to turn them into little pets at home. They're far too intelligent for that. But she's now exhibiting all the behaviors you want to see. I've been working. It's not just medicine. You also have to use a little applied behavior analysis. You got to do some... What are you doing, Cecil? You're walking right in front of the camera, you silly. You have to do things to enrich their lives, give them lots of toys, figure out what they like to eat. This one's a good eater. You know, that tail, move that tail, would you, so I can get my camera on her? Big silly bird. Yes, you are big and silly. So she eats well. She loves to eat, maybe a little too much. I catch her eating a lot. And she's playing with foot toys now. She's also playing with hanging toys. It'll be nice when she gets her feathers back in, because the people who had her cut her wings, of course. I don't believe in that. Now, I know some of you say, well, they'll fly out the door. Well, if you can't really control your environment, if you got little rugrats running around or something, well, that's actually not the bird's problem. That's your problem, okay? You have to find a way to make it safe so they can't get away. And, of course, if you recall train them, that works well, too. Now, when you clip a bird like this, for example, when she's up on the ropes, I think she's used to solid perches, okay? You in there, Jazz? Are you in there? Oh, you are. Okay. She's used to solid perches, so when she's walking around the rope, sometimes she'll fall over and she has trouble flipping around. She'll flap her wings and they don't help. Must have been somebody cut them, right? Now, I understand why people do it, okay? But you have to think about it. It's a fight or flight response, right? Okay, so if you take away the ability to fly, all you've got left is fight. And then people will say, I don't understand why my bird's getting aggressive. Of course, they say that. They'll say, my birds suddenly become mean. No, they haven't. They don't just become mean. I don't think there's a mean bone in these guys' bodies. If you see what appears to be meanness... Hi, Sal. Hello, Salamander. He's like, what? If they start to exhibit these aggressive tendencies, that's on you. That's a lack of knowledge of the species, and you're making mistakes, okay? Now, there's been a few times when she's acted a little aggressive. I have to wake her up in the morning while it's still dark to give her medicine. She's one of those birds. Cecil, do not sit up here by my face when I'm trying to take a video. Come on, back down there. Come on. He just likes sitting next to my face. And so once in a while, she'll kind of like try to fight me a little bit in the morning, because I'm waking her up from deep sleep, right? Even though these guys only... Nice song, Peaches. Even though these guys You want to be in the video? Well, I can't get you from that angle. There you are. Hi, Peaches.
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
Come here, Peach.
Come here, Peach. Yeah, come here, Peach. You're on the wrong side. Your ramp's over there. She has a ramp. Actually, it's the same ramp I use. I use two of these to lift up the van so I can put oil, do an oil change, that kind of thing. But it's her little ramp to get up here and sit next to me where I can reach her. But she gets toys to play with, and now she's actually playing. The problem is that if she falls over, I have to help her get back up because she can't use her wings to lift herself, okay? So when you clip these guys, you're creating an issue that I have to deal with. Now, yeah, they can do imping, which means they can actually take feathers and they can attach them, but then they have to knock her out to do it. And while not many birds actually die in that process, there is always a chance that anesthesia will cause a problem. And now they can reconstruct them. They take a feather and they attach it, but they got to knock them out, okay? And when Sugar had cut herself so badly, when I reduced her dosage, and she's on a pretty high dose, you'd never know it. She looks just like any normal bird, right? She's vocal, she plays, she's demanding, she wants me to do things with her. Excuse me, could you get off my... Cecil, you're not making this easy. He's walking on my arm, dipstick. But you couldn't get a better frame of mind than she has. She has her issues. She doesn't like to be... she doesn't like me going outside because she knows I'm opening the aviary. This one, Sugar. So she starts crying. But the day that she cut herself was the day I was just once a week I was lowering her dosage. I got her from 0.20, the 2 milligram per milliliters concentrate, down to 0.17, and she was a bloody mess. She just attacked herself. So it was down to see Dr. Young. Spent an hour cleaning her up, and then it took 5 minutes to get her out of anesthesia. It was a little frightening, but fortunately she was okay. So we don't want to do that, and especially at this time, talking about an hour's worth of surgery, it's really not worth it. So she's playing a lot. She's active when I'm coming out here. What she's learned to do now, she doesn't get on the side of the cage and start trying to get my attention. She just looks up every now and then to see if I'm about ready. When I'm about ready to actually take her out. And as soon as I come to her cage door, she runs over. Okay, so the behavior has changed from active, almost beating on the cage door to get out when I'm going outside, to just waiting to see when I'm ready. And she's figured out that sometimes she goes out first, and sometimes it's Sugar that goes out. I have to kind of keep them separated, although Sugar has learned not to be aggressive to her. As long as I pet Sugar whenever she asks, we're okay. Right, little girl? Right, Bob? Babaloo? Cecil bird? What are you doing up there? What are you doing? All right, you guys. Now, her feather condition is excellent. Her overall attitude is much improved. When she first got here, it seemed like the only thing she wanted to do was destroy herself. But she has no interest in that now. In fact, as you can see here, she's preening pretty well. Now, you can see the darkness of her feathers. When she first got here, she just was running all over her cage. She got peanut butter all over herself. And it's hard to clean. Yes, I see you flashed your tail. It's hard to clean that kind of thing off. But if you guys have been looking at the updates, you can see just by looking at her face. Would you, Cecil, quit getting in front of me? You little toad. Get up there. Come on. You can see that. You can almost see the smile there. She's just happy to be alive, right? And when she first came here, that was not the look on her face. The look on her face was just pure horror at being alive. Now, that doesn't mean the people who had her before were not treating her properly. Lorelai, you're going to do it now? What it means is that she's in a new place and there are new stressors. And those stressors were causing her to just explode onto her chest. So I had to give her massive doses of Haldol, and her period at that time was about 6.5 hours. Give her the drug, and about 6.5 hours later, she was going at herself again. So now we've widened it out. She's just like everybody else, about 10 hours. Now this is new. When she first came here, she wouldn't let anybody preen her. And Bob kept pushing and pushing. Usually it's Lorelai that does that, but she's our expert preener here. But Bob kept pushing and pushing, and eventually he got this behavior. He can now preen Jazmin. Between all the cars today and the military, it's pretty noisy out here. We're right in their flight plan, so. Lorelai, you're getting yourself in the way here. Somehow they know what I'm doing, and they just have to get into that spot. Thank you, Lorelai. See, she's exhibiting perfectly normal behaviors now, just allowing someone to preen her. Little interspecies here, you know, but a triton on a salmon-crested cockatoo. Preening. Bob's pretty good about preening. When he gets bored, though, he starts kicking at the other birds with his feet, and I have to stop him. Quit trying to eat the phone. Cecil, you're a pest, but a cute one. A cute one. But you are a pest. Yep. This is one important moment, so I'm not going to chatter too much. Keep an eye on what he's doing. Now here I have to observe him, and if he starts to kick at her with his feet, or he starts to act a little bit out of character, which he'll do at the end where he's about ready to stop preening, then I have to break it up. So the other thing Bob will do is he will preen improperly. He will start going down the wings and try to do the tail section, and he's never had the social graces that you would expect a bird to have. And we know they miss steps in their development because the breeders take them away from their parents, and they're never part of the flock, but most of them seem to know better than to do that. Not Bob, though. He's a special case. And while he's doing that, we got a sleeping salamander. Lorelai, move your butt. Well, she doesn't really have a butt. She has a tail, but... This is the longest he's ever preened her. And she's really getting into the normal behaviors of a cockatoo. All right, you're getting a little aggressive. Calm down. See, when he starts moving too fast, you got to slow him down. You Pip. So this is wonderful. When she first came here, she wouldn't let the other birds get close to her. She wasn't aggressive. She would just chase them away, squawk at them, and fluff out. But, you know, that deal where they make themselves look about twice as big. Something that would absolutely horrify any cat. You know, that's one thing. Inside cats, I don't have one, but because I don't want a predator around prey animals. But I've seen cats who are strictly house cats around birds, and as soon as the bird fluffs out its feathers, the cat's like, "I'm out of here, Jack." Exit stage right. So basically, I'm going to continue the same. I'm going to keep getting her involved in behaviors like this, and make sure she's playing with toys, watch her diet, check her poop every day, check her weight. Her weight's good. She gained a ton when she got here, about 50 grams, and she's lost about 10 of it now because the food's lost some of its novelty, probably. But who knows why. There's no way to prove that out, but she still eats like a champ. Don't you, kiddo? And yeah, she doesn't just sit here. I'll see if I can find a video and clip it in here. She was climbing on the top of the aviary yesterday, and you know, that's something that Snowball does, but pretty much nobody else does that around here. Once in a while, Cecil will. But her best friend here is Snowball. Snowball, the umbrella male cockatoo. Yeah, that's her best friend. They usually sit next to each other. Yep, flash that tail, kiddo. So that's Jazmin, our salmon-crested mutilating cockatoo, which doesn't mutilate anymore. Someone on Facebook was saying, oh, it's the love that makes a difference. Well, I don't believe in love, okay? I don't believe in... I think that word doesn't mean anything anymore. We should come up with a new word for the several different things that it describes. But I believe in, like, what the Dalai Lama calls loving kindness. You can treat anyone with loving kindness. You don't have to love them to do it. It's a behavior, not a condition of mind, okay? So I treat them all with loving kindness. Sometimes that means you have to be a little harder on them. I mean, if they start getting... Lorelei, quit trying to eat... Lorelei likes to eat the labels off shirts. And with my hoodies in the laundry, this one is going to eat the label off this shirt, which I got for 95 cents from Goodwill. But yeah, I buy my shirt. Hey, sugar, what do you want? I buy my shirts at Goodwill. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Now this is important too. If I don't pet this beak, and I've got Jazmin in my lap, then she is, you know, she considers me her mate, so she gets quite upset. And she does the worst thing a cockatoo can possibly do, in my opinion. She walks away from me and gives me her back, and then she won't even look at me. So I have to make sure I pet that beak. She doesn't bite at me. She doesn't do anything aggressive. She just gives me a look and turns and walks away, and you don't want to be shunned by a cockatoo. But thanks for watching, and please go to www.patreon.com/Chloe Sanctuary. Become a patron, or go to our website. What you doing up there, Jazmin? I thought only Cecil did the skywalking. What are you doing? It happens to be Jazmin Skywalker. What are you doing? Hey, Jazz. What's going on? All I got is the tail over here. What are you doing? What are you doing? Hey, Jazz. Hey, Jazz. Jazmin. Jazmin, girl.
to science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.
Evidence is evidence. It's public. Everybody can look at the evidence and assess it, and eventually, if there's enough evidence, come to the same conclusion.
The Chloe Sanctuary for Parrots and Cockatoos, a nonprofit charity dedicated to the empowerment of captive parrots and public awareness.